Join us while we make circles and curves. First, I'll show you my experiments in silks and the Trapunto applique techniques that make circles as smooth as silk. Next, Lorraine Woodruff Long shares spontaneous curves that are simple, fun, and create extraordinary quilts. It's 360 degrees of creativity on today's episode of Quilting Arts. I have always loved silk. I remember when I was in college, my mother made me this gorgeous changeable silk taffeta dress for a formal I went to. But it's the feel of it, it's the sheen of it, it's the rich colors. It's just a beautiful material. So I've been playing around with it a little bit. And I also love circles. So I've been making some pieces out of silk with circles. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the kinds of silk that I've worked with. Silk is available through, thrift shops. You don't have to go and buy yardage. You can often find it at thrift stores in clothing, in garments, and in ties. Let me move this out of the way, and I'm going to show you. Here's a tie, for example. So this tie, you want to check the label and make sure that it says that it's silk. And sometimes it will say it's silk, but if you are a little suspicious that it might not be, there's a burn test you can do with that fiber to make sure that it is silk and not a synthetic. But look at this tie. When I open this up to deconstruct it, it's so wide. If you look at one of the quilts behind me with the large circles, that was cut from a tie like that. You can get a good sized piece out of a tie, and they're very easy to deconstruct. So let's look at some of the types of silk, and I'll pull them out individually so you can see them. This one is a jacquard. Here is a changeable taffeta, or it's also called shot silk. And you can see it's made with threads going different directions in the warp and the weft. So when you move it under the light, it goes kind of from a dark red to a red. Beautiful. This one is Dupioni. Dupioni is known for its little bit of nubbiness, and I love those irregularities in Dupioni. But look at the glorious color. Here's an over-dyed kimono fabric. So kimono fabric tends to be maybe a little bit stiffer and thinner. This is a taffeta silk. Beautiful. Listen to that sound. You can hear a little bit of a difference with taffeta. This is a crepe de chine. Beautiful drape, right? Great for blouses and scarves. This one's a damask. So on a damask, you can see the design on both sides. Some people are familiar with damask linens. This is a damask silk. And this one's a brocade. So on a brocade, you've got this beautiful design on this side, and on the underside, you can see it's also beautiful, but kind of long threads. One of the things about silk that I don't like is all this shreddiness. See all these threads? Drives you crazy. Silk comes from these silk cocoons, and you can also purchase these cocoons and dye them for mixed media projects. Really fun. So let's slide that out of the way there. So I have two different circle techniques to talk to you about today. I'm going to start by introducing you to this. This is a tearaway stabilizer, and it's rayon, so it takes the heat. I tried this with another kind of stabilizer, and you can see how melted it became when I introduce the iron to it. So the stabilizer that you use is important, and there's information online about the specific product that I used. So I'm going to start with a circle template, and you can use anything you want. You can use a bowl, or this is a Mylar template. I put it on top of that paper, tearaway paper stabilizer, and trace around it to the size you want. And then I cut it out. Okay, so I've got my cutout circle, and I put it on top of the wrong side of the silk. So I'm going to glue that down. And in this case, I really can go just around the outside edge with the glue stick. I like to use these school glue sticks that are purple because I can see where the glue is. But this is also an acid-free glue, and it won't, it won't come through, it won't mark. That purple disappears when you press it. Let me bring the pressing pad up here, because now what we're going to do is we're going to iron that down. Silk can take a little bit more heat than you might think. You might be scared to iron silk. I've found that as long as I keep the iron moving, I can use high heat. Next, I'm going to cut that circle out so that I've got this. So it's about 1/4 of an inch that I'm leaving around the outer part, beyond the paper interfacing. And then I like to use these glue sticks that are a little bit narrower for this step, because I'm going to put another bit of glue right around the edge, the whole way around.